What's going on, everyone? Let me know if you can hear me. Everything's good. Check, check. Okay, looks like that sounds good. Check, check. Looks like my... Okay, all sounds should be good. Good morning. I think I got my video posted at 6:30 in the morning. 6 in the morning or something today. I said yesterday, I said I'm getting up early. Because if I don't get up, record my video, edit and post it before my son gets up, he's a toddler, and he will not let me. So, lucky for me, now I get to start waking up at 4:30 a.m. every morning. Let's see here. Lenny and KC is getting interesting. You guys got some lightning there? Take a look. Oh, yeah, there's some lightning rolling in there. See it on the map, actually. See it on the radar. There she is. All right, I was just going to quickly... I can take some questions and stuff, but I was going to quickly just talk about what's going on. What we're looking at today. Okay? So let me do that, and then I'll get to... This is going to be... I'm trying to do this in the mornings. At least... I'll probably... Starting in... July, be doing this in the mornings on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But trying to do this in the morning so we know what's going on for today. Here is our big, look at the globe. The earth is round. Here is our categorical outlook for today. Large, listen, it's not looking majorly severe, but it is widespread. Very large marginal. Stretching from the southern plains all the way up into the high plains and upper Midwest. And then we've got a slight in here as well. Central Texas all the way up to west central Illinois and southeastern Iowa. This could change. We'll see some updates today. Tornado. I actually expect this to change potentially a little bit. But you can see, I mean, pretty much almost all the way up there to Green Bay. And then down here to like almost, central Texas, Killeen, Austin. Very large 2% tornado risk. Again, just a 2%, nothing major. Models haven't shown any crazy tornado outbreak today. So, chances aren't high, but something we got to pay attention to. What's up, Connor? I saw the HRRR showed storms hitting the Joplin area around 6 p.m. Yeah, that sounds about right. Which is when the air is most unstable. I looked at the lapse rates, bulk shear. Could it be concerning? We'll take a look at that in a second. Okay, so that's nothing concerning there. We've got wind. Nothing crazy. We've got a 5 and 15%. But, you know, we still want to watch. And then we got that hail. You know, it has been looking like this sector, and I'm not just talking about for hail, but for tornado, wind, and hail, this sector of our of the U.S. today is potentially going to see the most significant severe weather. Not significant, but the worst severe weather potentially. So we're talking maybe Kansas City, Joplin could get involved. This area, you guys know where you live. We'll take a look at the HRRR, but this is the area I'm most concerned about. Models don't agree on what's going on up here. There's a little bit of capping, a little bit of not as much energy, not as much instability up there, but you never know. Weather's weird, and we could, and you know, it could end up being a worse day up here. Sometimes that happens, so take it with a grain of salt. But it does look like it's going to be worse in the southern section, central to southern section. Why is the probabilistic doing that? It's very strange. Anyways, so that's what's going on there. We are going to quickly. We do have this 10%. There's a 10% chance that we have a tropical storm or tropical depression developed here within the next 2 days, guys. Could we have a tropical cyclone off the coast of the Carolinas within the next 2 days? That's about a 10% chance. I'll tell you this, even if it does develop, we're going to have this shortwave trough and jet stream headed off to the east. It's going to get sheared to pieces. If that doesn't happen, it just doesn't. Say we get a tropical depression here, it doesn't have much time. Maybe it makes landfall I doubt it's going to get, even if low chances it develops, it's not going to probably even reach tropical storm strength, or it's just going to float away. It's probably just going to be a rainmaker. There's really nothing too concerning about that. I would tell you if there was. Down here, upgrade it to a 60% chance for development in the next 7 days. Again, with this one, not too concerned about it. And again, I'm going to get to your questions in a second. Not too concerned about it. It's going to develop and likely go whoop, or come up here, get a little sheared apart. So we're not too worried about that as of now. Quickly getting into the model updates for today. Here is our 12Z HRRR. Here's where our storms currently are. Let's get into our day 1 categorical. And let's move this forward. There's nothing severe right now, but watch as we move forward, you're going to start to see a line, what we call QLCS, quasi-linear convective system, form, consolidate. That's where our wind threat and hail threat definitely elevate, and you can have some embedded tornadoes. So we're going to go forward in time, and boom, you see that? Not too severe, not too severe. This is when things start to look a little bit more organized. And this is out at around 4 p.m. Central. Now, we could have a little bit of bad weather before 4 p.m. Central. We could have some severe weather. I would start paying attention early into the afternoon. Maybe even late morning for some of you up there in Kansas and western Oklahoma. But we start to get, here we go, 5, 6 Central. This line is our concerning line right here. We've got this and we've got this. So, yeah, around 5 to 6 Central, we're watching storms potentially moving towards the OKC, Tulsa area. Kansas City, these storms really want to develop and potentially get more significantly severe just out to the east of you. You could get some severe weather today. It looks like the worst may stay to your east, but it's going to be really, really close. Again, Davenport, Madison. Okay, these storms, this is as we get into the early evening. Push on to about 9 p.m. Tulsa to Kansas City, obviously. Oklahoma City, Davenport, Madison. You guys are probably done, and these are moving into the Chicago, getting close to Chicago, Springfield, St. Louis, both Springfields, Dallas-Fort Worth as well, mid-evening. And then these start to really fall apart. You do have a nice little MCS that wants to continue to move down here towards Austin, College Station, Caryville, so we'll watch that throughout the night. This could be a little bit of a nocturnal threat, but overall, these storms really start to fall apart there as we get later into the evening. Here's our potential tropical system. Look at this. It's not out of the realm of possibility that we have a tropical depression or a very weak low-end tropical storm make landfall in Charleston. Again, maybe I'm saying high-end tropical depression, like 35, 40 mile per hour sustained winds. You get general thunderstorms that can be more violent than that. So not overly concerning, but there's going to be a lot of rainfall with this. So we'll watch it. There's really not many scenarios where this thing gets too intense. I'm telling you guys. Anyways, that's what's going on. Does anyone have any questions?
A new flash flood warning has been
I did want to. Yeah, that Springfield. Let me actually pull up the actual HRRR real quick so we can actually take a look at that. Have you chased a hurricane, Connor? No, but I've been in the eye of 3 major hurricanes. Well, a Category 2 and then 2 Category 3s. Wilma went directly over my house. And then, let me pull up pivotal weather here, guys. 1 second. Wilma went directly over my house. And then I saw Jean was about to go over my mom's house when I was younger, middle school. And I asked my parents, I begged them. I said, can I go up to my mom's house? Because she lived up in Palm City at the time. And they said, sure, because they knew I was obsessed with hurricanes. So I went up there. Jean went directly over her house, the eye. 3 weeks later, Francis made landfall in the same exact spot, and I went back up there for that. So, span of 2 years, I was in the eye of Category 2 and 2 Category 3s, and it was awesome. Also, because I was young and didn't have to pay for all the damages, so I just got to experience the storm, which is something that I like. I don't like what it does. Obviously, I don't like the damage and destruction to people's lives, but I like the science behind it, and I was a kid, and I thought it was awesome. Anyways, really quickly, and then I'll get to questions, actually, because I did want to just actually look at this on the HRRR just to see if we had an uptrend or downtrend. I made my video this morning. The 12Z HER wasn't out either. But I do have a video posted going over all this stuff, guys. 81 people are in here this early. Well, water is too cool for developing right now? No, Randall, it is not. The water is well above 80 degrees out there in the Western Atlantic. I believe it's at around 86, 87 degrees. Water just needs to be 74. It's almost 10 degrees. I mean, you really want 80 for tropical development, but we've seen tropical development in 74-degree water. So some of the water is almost 15 degrees above tropical development capabilities. We can actually just look at that right here. Analysis tools, ocean analysis, Western Atlantic. Here we go, 26, 27, 28 degrees Celsius. This is very, very hot water. Upper 80s in some of these areas. Let's see. We were on pivotal weather. Okay, let me zoom in here. Sorry, guys, and then I'll answer questions. Yeah, so Joplin. Again, this looks to me like just a wind threat. I mean, this is such a downtrend by the HRRR. Not impossible to get an embedded tornado in here. Looks like it's going to be a wind and hail threat, though, mainly. At around, this is suggesting that this would be at around actually closer to 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Central. Yeah. Now, you could have some isolated. You could have some isolated storms moving through the Joplin region much earlier. We're talking like 5, 6 p.m. Isolated, discrete, which sometimes can give you a higher risk for tornadoes or more damaging tornadoes. But the actual squall line looks to be a little bit later in the evening. But yeah, you could get an isolated threat earlier on in the evening. So let me close this out real quick. Let's go to our radar so you guys know what's going on right now. What about Claremore, Oklahoma? Where is that? Let me know. East Central, Northeast, Southeast, Central, South Central, North Central. Because a lot of people are going to be asking questions, and if I have to search everything, then I'm not going to be able to answer all the questions, only certain ones. I try to answer everyone's. So, I know where Houston is. If you're in a major city, or if you're near a major city, obviously. Yeah, Houston, there could be a really like late night, early morning threat. We do have that MCS heading out down to the south in the overnight hours, so we'll watch that. Doesn't look too threatening, though. You know, Indiana doesn't look to get involved today. We could see Indiana get involved tomorrow, though. Fort Worth, Texas, timing-wise, again, this does look to be mid to late evening. Fort Worth, Texas. Here we go. This could be your most significant severe weather of the day. In and around, 10, 11 p.m., we could have that moving into the Dallas-Fort Worth region. OKC, this looks to move into your area. You know, you could have you could begin to have an isolated threat as early as 1 to 2 in the afternoon. And then that main squall line is going to come over after that. We'll see how lapse rates recover. And that's going to be around the evening, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So you're going to have 2 separate shots. What's going on, huh? There's going to be a threat of tours for Wolf City, Texas. I think we went over that yesterday, guys. It's better if you just say like the region or major city in here. Let me see. Let me pull up Wolf City, Texas. There will be. Yeah, there will be. Look, you know, 10 p.m. Central. You could have that first boundary moving through, and then as we get into midnight, we could have another decent squall line moving through that region. Although the second one may not be as bad if we get some good rain, some good downpours out ahead of that. We get some rain cooled air, but we'll have to see. Late evening into the early hours of the morning, you could have there's going to be a high wind, hail, and a slight, very small tornado chance. What time frame do you think we could see our first hurricane? I think second or third week of June we'll see our first hurricane. I'm not saying it's going to be landfalling, but I think we'll see a hurricane second or third week of June. These waters here are all the Gulf right now is the second warmest it's been since I think in the last 50 to 60 years. I think it's the second warmest in recorded history right now. Second warmest. Last year was the warmest. Western Atlantic's very close to record breaking at Northern Caribbean as well. Enso neutral weak La Nina, that gives us issues. So we'll see. There's the shear's projected to slow down a little bit in this area. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a hurricane in early June. It's not going to hit Houston. Model Kane. Well, listen, the GFS saw Milton and Helene about 220 hours out, and everyone said it was BS and to stop posting it. The GFS about 5 to 6 times a year almost perfectly sees a storm 200 plus hours out. And the problem is, though, it's like flipping a coin because there's plenty of times during the year where the GFS sees something that's completely imaginable or that's completely not real, fake, made up, not going to happen. So you got to take it with a grain of salt, regardless if it's out there, even 150 plus hours. But GFS did some crazy things last year with some of the storms it saw. It picked off a bunch last year, probably 5, 6, 200 plus hours out. It does much, guys. By the way, the GFS, we never use the GFS really up here. We use the Euro. The GFS in the subtropics and tropics is probably 3 times better than above the subtropics. Its algorithm just understands tropical conditions better. So GFS has a bad rep, and it should have a bad rep for the conists for up here in the mid latitudes. It deserves its bad rep. Its rep, actually, it gets way too much hate for the tropics. It does some really good stuff in the tropics. It also got an update, I think, in 2021 to its algorithm that even enhanced it even more in the tropics, which people haven't been paying attention to. They go, oh, it's hit and miss rate. If you look at over the last 60 years, people post it all the time and have no idea what they're talking about. They're like, look, I saw the thing with like all the X's from the X's and GFS. Yeah, okay, you're taking that over the last, 20, 30 years. There's been multiple updates to the algorithm, especially over the last 5 years. So it's not perfect. It's going to get a lot wrong, but we're asking it to see into the future. But it is much better down in the subtropics and tropics, in my opinion, better than the Euro. AI and Google will tell you it's not, but I've been every single year I stare at the tropics all hurricane season. I watch the Euro and GFS model, and I've just consistently seen the GFS outperform the Euro and the tropics. So what is going on, Mizzo Man? Good morning, Double. I loved Hurricane Helene. It brought remnants all the way here to Columbus, Ohio. I know some people who didn't love Hurricane Helene. I mean, it's exciting for people who don't. It got so far inland with such strength. It's exciting for people who don't get to experience that. But yeah, Helene messed up some people's lives, unfortunately. What's the time frame for Kansas City, Missouri? Sure, the time frame for Kansas City, Missouri. And guys, if I'm not answering you, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just reading 2 separate chats. So you guys are gonna have some. I call them thunder showers early in the morning. This is when things could start to get more severe at around 2 p.m. Central Time. Again, you guys are right on the border of this slight because it's hard to tell. Do these storms get severe right out to your west or over you, or when they're pulled out to the east? It's going to be close. But if you guys are going to get bad storms, we'll probably see them closer to 2, 3, 4 p.m. Central. It might rain at 5. It could rain in Kansas City until like 8 p.m. today. Like it's going to be like an all day rain. If it's not raining there yet, it's going to be like an all-day rain. You guys are going to get a ton of rain. If I go back here, let's go and look at our, speaking of that, outlooks, let's look at our excessive rainfall for today. There we go. That's our excessive rainfall outlook. By the way, Matt, it's now a 10% chance of development in the next 2 days. You can see it really nicely on the HRRR. I mean, again, if it does make landfall, it's probably going to be a depression at most. I don't see this thing getting to a tropical storm. Even if it does, there's general thunderstorms that are more intense than that. Here's the HRRR. Nice little spin. Could make landfall in South Carolina as a depression, but nothing anyone needs to worry about. That's, like I said, I think flash flooding is maybe a concern, but it's also staying to the east of the Appalachians. It looks like the bulk of the moisture, which is good. How's Omaha? Let's see here. One second. Yeah. So Omaha today, we can go back and look at our models. You guys are just getting a ton of thunder showers. Yeah, you guys are good. You guys are getting rain. It's not going to be too severe. Interesting what's happening up here for tomorrow. It's looking a little bit more impressive on the yeah, look at this. Looking a little bit more impressive on the HRRR today. Also this. Temple, Texas. We do have that very late MCS type structure heading down there to the south. You can see right here. We're talking 2 a.m., give or take an hour. Could have some high winds and hail potential. I don't think we're going to have much of a torrent potential, but I would have alerts on tonight if you're in Temple, Texas. Any bad weather tomorrow? Potentially. We can quickly pull into our day 2. I think this is going to go slight. I said this earlier, too. I said I thought the border of Kentucky may go into that marginal. If you guys remember yesterday, this marginal was looking like this. And I said, this thing, I got to pull. Someone needs to clip me more when I say this stuff. I said it probably looked like that. Someone looks exactly like what I drew yesterday. I still think this marginal expands potentially to cover the Kentucky border, and then we get a little bit of a slight. Then we get a little bit of a slight through here somewhere. But I think we get a slight down here as well. I think we maybe even go enhanced down here in Texas tomorrow. There's just some interesting things happening on some of the models. I'm 50-50 on the enhanced, but I'm pretty sure we'll get a slight down there as well tomorrow. And then our day 3. Look at that. Looks like a starship. Here's... Does it not? Now it's a shark. Okay. Yeah, look, New England getting a little involved as well. So, all right, enough joking around, guys. Goldfish. That's right. That's what yeah, it did look like a goldfish. What was I even saying? Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri today. I love how you guys say Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas, even though it's like they're the same. They're in the same exact location. You guys are very prideful over your states, I see. You wouldn't want someone to think you live in Kansas City, Kansas. I get it. Yeah, you guys are going to have downpours all day. I mean, downpours all day. You could have a severe threat really starting as early as 10 a.m. It's hard to tell. I would say the highest threat for you guys is going to be around 2-3 p.m. in the afternoon. And we'll probably see some heavy downpours potential in that region until about 7-8 central. Nothing major. We do see, like I said earlier, I mean, our most significant severe threat today looks to be, if I were to outline it, looks to be this sector here. OKC potentially, Tulsa, maybe out towards Springfield, Missouri, Joplin. I think it's going to stay just to the east, Kansas City, and potentially move it into Dallas as well. But you can see as this thing sets up right here. Slightly concerning area. Maybe even all the way up here too. Some high winds. What is going on? KC, Kansas from experience is a lot nicer than KC, Missouri. Guys, is that true? Let me know, chat. Which is nicer? Let's get in the debate. I have my Discord open. Let me close out my Discord so we stop hearing. Boop, 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 boop. This, like I said, this is gonna be a quick stream because I'm getting back on later. I just wanted to give everyone some updates and then get off. So I'll be on like maybe 10 more minutes and I'm gonna get up. Kansas City, Missouri, really? Oh wow, Missouri. Wow. Okay, well, you know what? Kansas Ghetto. I don't know. Either there's a ton of people who live in Kansas City, Missouri here, or that's just the truth. Overland Park's nice. You know what I almost want to do? 1 second, chat. Here's what I want. Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. So we can settle this once and for all. Here's what I'm gonna do. Give me a second. Give me a second. Hold up. Hold up. Give me a second. I'm just gonna ask Google. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Let's ask ChatGPT. Is KCMO or KC nicer? Okay, let's take a look at this, guys. Give me a second. This is important stuff. This is important stuff, and then I'll get back to answering questions. Pros of Kansas City, Missouri: more developed, better public amenities, more job opportunities. Higher crime, higher taxes. Okay, okay. Kansas City, Kansas: quieter suburban lifestyle, lower cost of living. Well, of course there's a lower cost of living because it's less developed and there's worse public amenities. So I don't know if I care about lower cost of living. Attractions like Legends, outlets, and Kansas Speedway. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to lie. Based on this ChatGPT description, Kansas City, Missouri seems like where I'd want to live. Like, the lower cost of living is cool until you realize it's because it's less developed and there's less nicer public amenities. So, yeah, fewer amenities. Worse public services. Okay, general verdict. Young professionals, foodies, artists, Kansas City, Missouri. Families, quiet suburbs, affordability, Kansas City, Kansas. Okay. Listen, I'm going to have to say Kansas City, Missouri. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Still love you, Kansas City, Kansas. But I've made my decision. Kansas doesn't have any nice nature places. KC is not all that. I've actually never been to Kansas City. My wife has been to Kansas City. She's got a sports management degree, and she would. I think she's been to a bunch. She's worked at the stadium there, Kansas City football stadium, whatever it is, Chiefs Stadium, a bunch. Let's see. Actually, guys, give me 1 second. You about to get out of here? Hey, if anyone is not subscribed on YouTube, and I'm literally not just saying this, I just want to test my new notification. Can someone who's not subscribed on YouTube hit subscribe? Like literally just one person. I'm not begging for subscriptions. I want to see if my notification works properly. Or unsubscribe and then resubscribe if you're subscribed. I want to see if it works. Good morning. Okay, let me answer. I'm going to be on 5 more minutes. I'm going to answer a bunch of questions. I am getting on later today, guys. Probably in the afternoon and evening. I'm probably doing 3 streams today. I might even hop in Evan's stream today. So don't worry. I'm going to be back on. I have a whole video describing everything today as well. That's already posted. Jettabug, Cindy, I appreciate you. St. Louis, Missouri. I know a lot of people want to know what timing of everything. Oh, there we go. It worked. Marissa, I appreciate it. Can you guys see that? On the YouTube side? Oh, you guys can see that on the TikTok side as well. Hey, there we go. Okay, it's working. It's working. Nice. I live in Florida. We haven't got rain in Lake County area yet. You got a bunch of moisture moving over central to southern Florida, but look at this. The whole state should get in on the action over the next 24 to 36 hours. You guys will have a lot of moisture. Really, over the next 48 hours, the whole state should get a lot of rainfall. Maybe not the western panhandle as much, but Tennessee. We'll watch Tennessee as we get into Thursday, I believe. But there's really not much going on in Tennessee. Thanks, Marissa. Thanks, Jules. How bad will Morgan County, Illinois be in the marginal? Morgan County. Wait. Oh, you guys are in the marginal? Listen, storms up here, central to northern Illinois, don't look well put together at all. I think maybe a small hail and a wind risk. Not very. It's not looking too bad. I mean, we can see as we move this forward, it's very unorganized. This is actually a little bit better of a look. This could give you a nice wind threat. Probably not much of a torr threat though. So it's kind of your average severe weather day, 1 out of 5, 2 out of 5, potentially risk day. Nothing's jumping off the map. I will say these storms start moving into Illinois as we get into around 7 p.m., and they're really not, and then they start to really fizzle out as we get into around 1 a.m. Springfield, Missouri? Yeah, we've got Joplin, Springfield potentially getting involved as we get into around 9 Central. Although, again, we could have some isolated storms moving up through southwestern Missouri much earlier on in the day, maybe 6, 7 p.m., but that main squall line, MCS, maybe not until about 11 p.m. midnight. That's going to be moving through that region. There's going to be a little bit of a tour chance in here for sure. We could end up seeing some SIG winds. Depends where you are in Texas. If you're talking about like a DFW, you could get storms as early as 8 p.m. and then that main squall could push through at around 12 or at around 11 or 12. Let's say 11 to 1 a.m. And then starts to push down south towards Austin through the overnight hours, early morning tomorrow. You're a Missourian, by the way. I hope the HRRR doesn't uptrend or else I might be cooked. Yeah, we've seen it. It's actually been pretty consistent. It hasn't really uptrended or downtrended recently. It's been pretty consistent on today. Is there a map to look at all the Canadian smoke? It's been hazy here. Yeah, we can probably see it. We can do that real quick. I do have to get off, and then I'll be back on a little bit later. But I can show you guys that. Actually, I really like Windy. I think it has a really pretty satellite. It's so hard on the GPU or on the. It's so hard to like on your computer, but it's got a nice looking satellite. We can probably see this when we go into visible. Now it's not as bad right now. Let's go into 12-hour and see this thing. It's a little dark, so. You see it's dark, and then we're going to get into... During the daytime, it's much easier to see that smoke. There it is. You can see this all here, actually. Let me push back a little bit. See that right there? You can see the smoke here. Why is that so big? See that smoke here? A lot up here in the Midwest, and still some flowing down here through the South. Yeah, that's all. This is all wildfire smoke in here. Still. It'll become even more visible as we push through the daytime. Very visible. It looks pretty cool. I mean, not cool, but the other day it was so obvious on the map. It was so thick, the wildfire smoke. Kingfisher, Oklahoma. All right, let me answer that, and then I'm going to get off. But again, I'm going to be on later today in the afternoon, midday, evening. So, Kingfisher. Now, later I might be just on YouTube. If you guys do want to head over there or sub on YouTube, it's obviously free to sub on YouTube. But I might just be over there on YouTube later. We'll see. I'm trying to really get over there more. TikTok's been giving me issues. Here we go. Yeah, we could see some general thunderstorms moving through your region early in the afternoon. Our main threat looks to be moving into that region at around 5 p.m. Central. Tor, hail, wind is all a possibility. Not a super high risk for any of them, but there is a risk, at least a small risk for all of that. Northeastern rain chances this morning. Okay. And HRRR isn't really seeing much, if I'm being honest. All right, guys, I got to get off. I will be back on a little bit later. I posted a video talking about all of this today. It's on my Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. I'll get on a little bit later in the afternoon. And so if you want to throw me a follow, whatever, you'll get notifications, or if you want to sub to me on YouTube. And then I'll be on in the evening as well. I post every single day. I live stream every single day. Try to answer all of your guys' questions. So I appreciate you, and I'll see you a little bit later. Thanks, guys.